One of the biggest releases that we had in the last few months was that release of the pricing CoPilot that's specifically targeted towards CNC machine shops, but also will be helpful for 3D, but especially for CNC and cutter. So I will share my screen to quickly present what has been released. So those of you who have used Digifactor, you know that we had, for a long time, we had this feature called Price Tweaker, which was a very helpful tool for you to play around with the pricing parameters to see for each model, for any model that you have from your clients or from your internal design team, what the quotation did look like. But we at Digifactor, at the beginning of this year, we decided, okay, so what if we take this Price Tweaker tool and turn it to 11, right? And really maximize that and make that the main tool around the Digifactor quotation process, right? So that's how we made this CoPilot pricing tool, which is completely new Price Tweaker 2.0 with lots and lots of new features. So first and foremost, I think just the look and feel, how it looks, it's super compelling, super nice, it's super fast. We tried to make it as simple and as convenient as possible. And by simple, we not say that it's like simplistic, it's just easy to use and easy to adopt. I think most interesting thing here is that we now have full feature recognition built into this CoPilot pricing. Right, so for each model that you have here, so for example, I have this part of Kalida Motorsport with some of the pockets, some of the holes, so it's pretty feature rich. We now automatically recognize everything that we have in the step model and list them in this one unified list. So that's just super helpful because you do not have to use your software, any other third-party software to get those features out. So then we introduced this new concept of time-based pricing. So previously what we had is just an ability to price like every feature differently, every geometric parameter differently, but we did not have this concept of like how much time, how many seconds or minutes or hours every feature or every parameter of the model gonna take to produce. So now we have this time one-off costs of recurring, one-off costs for non-recurring price, and then per piece time, which is applicable for both programming and features. So this gives you endless possibilities on how to combine those, how to embed it in your existing algorithms, your existing formulas, so on and so forth. So for those of you who may not be familiar, so I think for most of the people that's super clear because that's commonly used, those terms like recurring, non-recurring. So when you say about non-recurring one-off costs, it's something like programming in CAM software, or it's purchasing like jigs and fixtures, or it's like some specific procurement for the materials for this model. So it's non-recurring, meaning that for every model, for every CAD file that you're getting into your system, this cost only incurs. Right, so and then it's up to you to decide whether you want to include that or whether you want to not include that into your quote. And recurring, it's something that happens for every line item. So despite the fact that it's the first, like no matter whether it's the first time you produce this model, or it's the second, or it's like a recurring line item, it's something that happens every time. So for example, it's where of your tooling, or it's the cost of setting up those jigs and fixtures that you set up and purchased initially, or it's operator time for running batches. So this kind of costs that happening for every line item of the model, every line item of your order. And then per piece is something super straightforward. So it's a cost in time based, or the cost based that's happening for every copy of the model that you're making in your machine shop. So, and along with those time-based framing, we now have clear three types of costs. So we now have cost of operator, which applies to one-off recurring costs. We have now cost of programmer, which is applied to the non-recurring one-off costs. And then we have like everything else, which always happens to be this cost of machine, right? So yeah, these are the base and the most important concepts here that we have introduced here. And then, so everything else is just based on top of that. So for example, for this model, I have 8 types of holes with different depth to diameter ratio, some of them blind, some of them not blind. And we have the matching possibilities, right? So you specify in your machine what type of features can be produced on this machine, and then we automatically find out which of them are matching. So which can be or cannot be produced on this machine. And once we find the match, we can change that time. I can say, okay, so for this type of holes, for this type of tooling, my per piece time going to be like 8 minutes. So now we have 8 minutes of operator, which will be multiplied by cost of operator, which can be 20, for example, here. Yeah, and yeah, so for now it has added like 3 euros or $3 for features. So why it has increased that much is that we also have the operator cost applies to the machine, right? Which is clear, but we can also adjust that. So we can say, okay, so for my machining, the involvement of the operator is not 100%, right? So I can say that it's just like 10%. So this will allow us to dramatically reduce the cost. Or I can say, no, actually, so the operator is not involved here at all. So I have only added those few minutes to my total here. And then we have this same structure for machine cost, which can be changed here for the per piece variables, and the same thing applies here to the rate of programmer. So if it's 50 per hour for programmer, let's say, and then we can say that like for every model, I'm gonna require it's gonna require at least like 60 minutes of work to make it in CAM, right? So it has added those 50 euros here, and then I decide whether I want to include that in my total cost or I will not include that to my total cost, right? So yeah, I think there's a lot of that we can talk about here. So maybe Constantine, maybe you have some questions or ideas or something that we need to dig deeper into before we go to the next part.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention the idea behind this time-based tool. It is not only we want the tool for machinists that looks very similar to, and the variables and everything in the approach itself very similar to to spreadsheets, to everything that you used to have in your shop, but also on the top of that, the idea is, of course, over the time, we want this tool to learn from exactly how you quote every single job, learn your way to quoting, because again, there's a few different approaches on the market when it comes to the quoting. So our approach is always we relying on the shop's data, also the accuracy of the data to come up with the algorithms for whatever CNC or additive. And with this tool, again, the biggest goal for us is to provide this sort of the bridge for machinists, for the estimators, when they can have have the tool that, again, looks very similar to what they used to, and at the same time built-in capability to learn from your quoting approach. So at some point of time, this tool will be able to help you automate your quotes. Maybe not 100% of the quotes, but most of the quotes. So you can basically allow this tool to be your, again, as we want to call it, Copilot, and automate 50% of your jobs, 60% of your jobs, whatever. So that's I think important to mention.
Yeah, and how exactly that's going to work? So why is it CoPilot, right? Because the CoPilot is the system that helps you to do your usual tasks faster, right? It's not completely replacing you, because what's completely replacing you is agent. So right now, agent here is not what's live, but the CoPilot just allows you to do your job more efficiently, and how it's reflected in the day-to-day operation, right? So let's say you have the order that has been created using the internal tool. For example, you got your models from the email, from some archive, or your customer using the front-end widget has uploaded the model and it converted to the order, right? Or to the draft of the order. So you got some automated pricing. So this automated pricing was built on some like average numbers or average pricing rules that you have saved into the system, right? But then you have same full-scale capabilities for going into this specific line item, see those settings, how they have been set up, and do the adjustments in exact same way as we just saw previously, right? So you can say, actually, for this specific model, I'm going to use like different rules for programming, let's say, from one of cost. So that's going to be requiring like per phase values. So that will be reflected in the cost as well. So I'm going to use the actual little bit higher price of like hourly rate here. So that's one of the things. You can also change the pricing for the specific features, and even more, you can use the jigs and feature settings. So that's one of the things of non-recurring one-off costs is the cost of those jigs and features that should have specifically be created for this CAD file, right? So here I'm going to use the additional cost of that. So that's reflected right here, and then so what you do here is you can okay, so that's 126, and then you can save that to the product. So that's what makes it super special and super helpful, is that you can directly and in a very detailed way tweak the price in the CoPilot system and then transfer that to your line item. So this is now will be reflected in your purchase, right? So you have different price here. So it's 126. So the price tweaker does not reflect the priority, because priority and the post-production are handled differently, but the manufacturing price is saved from the CoPilot tool. The second coolest thing here is that once you made those adjustments, you can decide whether you want to save that to your line item, or you can accept those values and transfer them to the machines and materials. So this is the part where this automation role plays in. So you can say, okay, I will have my automated rules applied to some parts of my quotes, and then I will adjust those that need some changes, that needs adjustments, and then I can either just use it as a one-time adjustment. So for each specific model, I'm going to do this manually, or I can transfer those settings and will save them for the later use. So if I accept the values that I will tweak here, this will be actually saved to my machines and materials. So if previously you needed to go to your settings, you needed to see all those fields and manually here set up like what will be like price of setup, what will be cost of programming. So right now this can be done automatically within this CoPilot price tweaker tool. So this is super powerful, and we see a lot of our customers started using that this fall, and what they achieving with that, that's super powerful and super helpful. That saves a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely.